Good day, everybody. Welcome to Miss Valley Entertainment News. My name is Dread, and welcome to a video that I'm calling Ubisoft is seriously so effed right now. And we're going to react to about 3 different videos. We're going to take portions of each here because there's some really important stuff going on. So I anticipate you're going to want to watch this. Hang in there. I'm not going to keep you any longer than I need to, but we're going to go over the facts. We're going to go over what's going on. And this stuff right now is important. So stay tuned for this. By the way, welcome to the man cave. Welcome to the man cave, the Dread Cave. Okay. Little new background there. Let's get right into it, everybody. Let's go. First video we're reacting to, and these are all, once again, linked down below, is by Blackwoods. And it's called Ubisoft being Ubisoft.
As unfortunate as it might sound, but Assassin's Creed Shadows has officially gotten delayed. So first off, Ubisoft made this announcement on their Twitter, where they gave this huge message to fans stating that Assassin's Creed Shadows will now release on February 14th of 2025. So let's take a look at everything that Ubisoft has said here, because as far as what I think, the reality is something else, and Ubisoft hasn't mentioned that in the statement here.
And Blackwoods is not the only person who thinks that it's a lot more than just their statement. That their statement is soft pedaling what is absolute panic happening in Ubisoft right now. Absolute panic in Ubisoft right now.
Now first, let's go ahead and read it. It says, "Dear players, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us, finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour or the renewed stealth, brought by the new technology, all set in a beautiful and immersive world. Now, it's an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of 2 unique protagonists, but we realize that we need more time in order to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features of the game. Now, such as we have made the decision to postpone the release to February 14, 2025, which is 5 months from now.
Wow.
It's a very, very long postpone, and the game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam at launch. Now, if you guys don't know this, but Ubisoft has usually, shifted their releases from Steam, and they've just moved on to like PlayStation, which is console separately. But on the PC version, they moved on to their own Ubisoft Plus subscription, and the Steam version always releases very later on in time. So
yeah, I was thinking that seems really unusual. They released right away on Steam, and they're pointing that out. So what does that tell me? What does that part tell me? That when this game does release in 5 months, if it does release in 5 months, it isn't pushed back further, is that they realize they may still be very, very low in sales. And in order to push all their sales and make the opening look better, they want to be on all platforms they possibly can, be selling it everywhere and bring in all those sales at once. That tells me they know that if they release now, or even if they release in 5 months, it still may not sell great. Very interesting. Well, they're going to get more into that later.
So it seems like they've learned their lesson, that players are not very happy about that, and that kind of just reduced a lot of sales, and now they're...
You know what players are really unhappy with? Ubisoft. Just Ubisoft.
Back to Steam once again, which is eventually a good stuff, and I think they learned it the hard way. And additionally, they also said that for those of you guys who have pre-ordered the game already, you will also be getting a refund, and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for absolutely free. Now,
wow. Wow. And when I first heard this, the immediate thought was, this is the company's way of saying, hey, if you'll ignore the fact that our company is a big steaming pile of shit, and if you will buy this game that we know that you know is a big steaming pile of shit, we'll give you a smaller steaming piece of shit for free with it. Please don't be fooled, people, and think they're doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. Please don't think that. This is a studio in absolute panic mode. Question, and it will be answered, is why are they in absolute panic mode? APM, absolute panic mode. Why?
Are you guys understanding this? Ubisoft is giving first DLC for Assassin's Creed Shadows for absolutely free. And imagine, for a company that is so freaking money oriented,
Imagine for a company that's a big steaming pile of shit and treats people like they're larger pieces of shit than they are. Why would they do anything for you?
It takes a lot of hit before they decide to give away season pass for absolutely free, and this has never happened before with Ubisoft. And I think they've taken a very, very huge fall this time that they decided to, completely change the entire business pattern of how they're going to be running from now onwards in the future with this.
Well, there's no guarantee, Blackwoods, that this affects the future at all. There's no guarantee of that. They could go right back to doing all their other games going forward the exact same way they do and have been in the last many, many years. There's no guarantee that they're making a permanent change on anything. Don't be fooled by the corporate speak either. Don't be fooled into thinking that they've changed their ways for the better. They've changed their ways for the moment because of APM, absolute panic.
Assassin's Creed games. Now, moving further, let's go ahead and take a look at what they have to say. We understand this situation will come as a disappointing news, especially to those who have been waiting patiently for Assassin's Creed game.
I'll 10 or 12 of you.
Inspired by feudal Japan setting, but we sincerely believe that this is the best interest for the game and ultimately for your experience.
Waiting patiently for an Assassin's Creed game inspired by feudal Japan, where we show that we're racist against the Japanese people by putting a black person as the lead. Because, hey, we sat around as a company and figured, let's make a game of feudal Japan. This will be really fun. Oh, and by the way, but we can't let them play as a Japanese person. Nobody's going to want to do that. I would have been fine playing this game as a Japanese person in feudal Japan. It would have made sense. There was no reason to wreck the historicality of the game. I mean, obviously the game is a fiction piece, but still. Insert a black man in as the lead character. There was no reason to do that, other than try to be more diverse, which only just showed you to be racist against Japanese people. Terrible fucking idea.
As a player. But yeah, this was something that most of us in the community have already been expecting because they haven't been doing any sort of marketing for the game. They've just kept pushing the marketing stuff and they haven't released any official statements or whatsoever. And now it's finally official. They've said that 5 months later is when the game is going to come out. Now, initially, we were just 2 months away from the launch of this game, and now we are 5 months ahead for the launch of this game. And honestly, one of the biggest reasons as to why Ubisoft has chosen in order to delay this game 5 months long just makes this entire situation so freaking suspicious, man. Because Ubisoft was so confident in order to release Assassin's Creed Shadows in November,
and when people suggested the game needed more work, they're like, no, we're releasing it. It does not need any more work. It's fine. Because they thought people will buy it anyways. No. The consumer has woken up, Ubisoft. The consumer has woken up. And as Dr. Frankenstein found out, when the consumers get together and grab their pitchforks, their torches, and head for your castle, you're in trouble.
absolutely had no plans of delaying this game. They were very confident. They even showed off some gameplays. They even sent some press kits to YouTubers. They invited some YouTubers to events, and everything looked polished. Everything looked good enough as far as what they've done. But what kind of made them change this? What really made Ubisoft take this huge amount of time in order to delay this game, like literally 5 months from now? And honestly, the biggest reason is the stock market prices for Ubisoft. Now, if you go down to their stocks, you'll actually find out that Ubisoft stocks for the past 30 days has dropped about minus 34%, which is a massive drop. Now, honestly,
34% drop in the past month for their stock prices. People, Ubisoft is so effed right now. Let me restate that. I'm sorry. Let me restate that now that we're past the title. Ubisoft is so fucked right now. Their investors have lost so much money. So much money. That they grabbed their torches and pitchforks and marched on the head office to tell Ubisoft, you cannot release this game like this. We understand. We see the writing on the wall. People are upset with you for many different reasons, and you have to fix this. And so Ubisoft said, okay, well, wait. We'll delay the game. We'll do a little work on our systems and they don't need work on the systems. They need work on making the game look better. They don't need work on the systems. They need work on dealing with people and cultures in proper and sensitive ways. They need to re-energize, reconnect with the people of Japan and sincerely apologize and work hard at fixing their mistakes. They need to replace their main character with a Japanese character. They need to make sure there's no more DEI in their game. I have like 1% confidence that they're going to do all that stuff that they need to do. 1%. I don't think they can do it in 5 years, let alone 5 months. And even if they did manage to pull it off, I don't think they do it out of sincerity. I think they do it out of panic of losing their jobs and losing their company. And if they pulled it off, released the game, and it sold well because of that, they turn right back around, do the exact same thing on the next game and the next games that they've always done. Screw you over. Get in bed with the DEI and the special projects and the special interest groups. And release a half-finished game and charge you through the nose for all the DLCs because they're Ubisoft. And I think they're so infected with themselves that they are the actual virus taking down their own company. I don't think they can ever properly change. But we'll see.
Comparing this with any other companies, like you can see, they're only 0.5%, 1% at max, and that's the maximum drop any company has taken. But Ubisoft, it's a whole another ball game that they're playing here with minus 34%. That's a huge freaking dip in just 1 month's time. And honestly speaking, man, this is one of the biggest reasons as to why Ubisoft thinks, at first they decided that the game was, fine, people are just going to be happy, it's still going to sell. Even if we push in all of the DEI agenda, whatnot, people are still going to buy it. They're not going to be mad or whatever. They're just going to, complain.
I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying that's what Ubisoft thought, because that's what they always think. They didn't change their think. The investors saw the writing on the wall because their wallets kept emptying.
About this stuff for a couple of days, and eventually we will sell the game, we will make money, we will always be on the top, we'll always be making money. And that's what Ubisoft initially thought, until they got to know that their stocks are just bombarding, they're just dropping so fast that the company might get officially sold. If
They might lose their company. People, that is how good of a job you have done at paying attention to the gaming industry right now. In all seriousness, I applaud you, because you're the people who listen to the when people like myself bring it to your attention, or you hear it directly from these other channels, or other sites, that this is what's going on. Wake up, pay attention. And you do. You have. You've understood your dollar is important to you, and you're not spending it where you don't want to. You're understanding as a consumer, you hold the power. I'm going to suggest something to you, and you don't have to take my suggestion to heart. I'm going to suggest to you, you've got Ubisoft on the map right now. You've got them down for the count. The ref is smacking the mat, counting to 10. Do not let them up. Don't let them up. Make them prove it every step of the way, and do not forget. And if they don't do everything they need to do, keep your money in your wallet. Do not purchase. Now, again, that's just my opinion. That's just my sentiment. You in the end control your own money. You do your own thing. You have your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own way of going about stuff. You do you. But that's just my suggestion. Make them actually change as a company, or make them fold. Tell you what, if you make them fold, you will have everyone's attention in the gaming industry. Everyone's. You will be hated even more than you are now in the gaming industry. But you will also be respected. They will fear you. And they will start actually thinking about what they're doing. Now, does that mean we should sacrifice Ubisoft to get that accomplishment? Does the ends justify the means? You know what? Decide for yourself.
34% drop happens in just 1 month, then imagine what could happen by the time Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out. And if the game fails, or if the game is buggy, or is not satisfying the customers and gets bad reviews, then just imagine what's going to happen to Ubisoft's reputation from their investors, and literally nobody is going to invest on Ubisoft ever again. The company is 100% assured to be shutting down. Now, initially, Ubisoft thought that, November, we can just sell whatever we have at this point, but now it seems like after they have fallen and after they've learned their lesson from the fall, they now decided that, what?
Have they learned their lesson, or did they get smacked by the investors? They got smacked by the investors. I challenge you, I do not think they learned any lesson yet.
We can't really fool fans around. It seems like people are finally speaking up. It's not just about the DEI, about people being mad that, Yasuke is not like a real historical character. The whole thing about the gameplay and the game itself is not really as ready as what we've been expecting.
No, it's not.
And Ubisoft decided to sell it either ways, and now they decided that this is going to be their one last final chance.
And we haven't even talked about Star Wars Outlaws yet in this video. And that was an Ubisoft project, and that was an absolute failure. Once again, thank you for paying attention.
One last stand before the entire company falls apart. And now
this is their last stand.
They decided to take 5 months in order to develop this game, and that's a huge delay, honestly. Now, not only is it about Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft has also made some changes for Star Wars Outlaws. Now, as you know, Star Wars Outlaws is going to be getting like a brand new DLC, which is going to release in the month of November, on 21st November, and they have officially announced that they're going to be releasing free contracts for all the players. It's going to be free for all players, contract missions, DLC content that is going to be available on Star Wars.
Let's see what it says. That's not all. Our very first story pack, Star Wars Outlaws Wildcard, will also launch on November 21st. We'll see Kay and Nix infiltrate a high-stakes Sabacc tournament where they will face off against the legendary Lando Calrissian. In addition, new contracts will be added free for all players. Read that paragraph again. Read the paragraph again. Our very first story pack, Star Wars Outlaws Wildcard, will also launch on November 21st. And we'll see Kay and Nyx infiltrate a high-stakes Sabacc tournament where they will face off against a legendary Lando Calrissian. You're going to get into a game of Sabacc with Lando. That's available on November 21st. Their very first story pack. In addition, new contracts will be added free for all players. Now, I don't know if there's a screen before this that says 2 of 2, so there probably was. He's not showing it. Did the first screen say that the first story pack is free? Because this screen doesn't say that. This screen says the first story pack comes out November 21st, and in addition to that, there will be free new contracts. I'm just saying, what I'm seeing on the screen doesn't tell me that the story pack is free. And the other suggestion is, if it is free, people are getting excited. Ooh, Lando! Oh boy, sure, that's cool, but it's a Sabacc game. It's a mission where you play a game of Sabacc against Lando. Is that really that exciting for people? That would cause you to buy this buggy fucking mess of a game with its ugly main character? If it does, wow. But okay, you do you. But wow. Does that make me want to run out and buy the game for $100 and some? No. For the PC players, game will be available on Steam on November 21st as well, so they're dropping it on Steam very quickly. Why is that? Because their sales were so bad for this game. So incredibly bad. Some people picked it up. Yeah, they did. Most people didn't. Most people saw the gameplay, were already turned off by the character design, saw the gameplay and went, ew, that's a mess. Bet you anything, Assassin's Creed was barely any better. Will it be better 5 months from now? It might be. Here's a good question. Why did they put Star Wars Outlaws out in the state that they put it out in? And why were they going to really quickly afterwards release, like in 2 months from now in November, originally, Assassin's Creed Shadows in the same basic kind of state? Hands up anyone who thought, because they wanted the consumers' money and don't give a shit about you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's Ubisoft. Please remember that. They want your money and they don't give a shit about you.
Outlaws as well. Now, if I have to be honest, I have never seen Ubisoft do something this good for fans. They really never give stuff for free. And finally seeing that, they're supporting games and really wanting to, do stuff for gamers, because now they want to get accepted. They want to go back to what their roots really initiated, and they want to get back to...
I don't believe that at all. I believe they got smacked by the investors and they had to make changes immediately. That does not tell me that the people running the company, people making the decisions, have actually made changes to the way the company will do things forever going forward. There is nothing that says that, and there is nothing that makes me think that. Nothing.
Glorious days of when Ubisoft used to make amazing games. And I think, the fall has really taught them, and it's only possible because us gamers stood along and we spoke with our wallets, and it really worked, lads. Now, it's not just this. We also have another surprise from Ubisoft, because Ubisoft is making major changes to their entire company and the way it's going to be leading video game productions in the future. And it seems like finally they're learning their lesson, because now Ubisoft has made some massive statement which really blew me out of the surprise, because I never expected Ubisoft would speak about this stuff. Now this update is coming from my good friend Rhino on Twitter, where the
Okay. So I didn't see this part because I didn't go all the way through this video yet. So this is interesting. So let's read what it says, because I don't know if Blackwood's going to read it. It says, Ubisoft. News. Ubisoft board is launching an investigation into the company, stating that they are an entertainment-first company and that their goal isn't to push any agenda. Well, apparently your goal has been that for years, so that's a lie. But anyways, a recap of the statement. They acknowledge the need for greater efficiency while delighting players. So being more efficient, does that mean like getting things out on better time? While delighting players. That's a really broad statement. I don't know what it means. Executive committee under the supervision of the board of directors. Okay, what are they going to do? What are they going to demand is done? I don't know. That's not stated. Launching a review aimed at further improving their execution, notably in this player-centric approach. Again, that's a very broad statement. I don't know what it means. Accelerating their strategic path. So accelerating, going faster, a strategic path, going faster on their plan to have a higher performing model to the benefit of their stakeholders and shareholders. So doing something that means we won't piss off the shareholders like we just did. Okay, we do that. Reaffirming they're an entertainment-first company creating games for the broadest possible audience. Well, that's what they use the DEI to suggest. Well, we're reaching more people this way with our DEI and inserting all these different things into it. Well, that backfired, didn't it? And again, their goal is not to push any specific agenda. These are super broad statements. I honestly do not know what they mean. There's no way of knowing what they actually mean. That's probably done on purpose.
Breaking news is that Ubisoft board is launching an investigation into the company, stating that they are an entertainment-first company and that their goal isn't to push any agenda. So they're basically investigating now, finally figuring out what went wrong, who are the people behind pushing all of the agenda.
They're investigating themselves, which is always quite suspect.
Over entertainment. You know, the company has always lost its soul. They're just pushing in all the agendas instead of making good games. And
so, you know what? We're only halfway, or just about halfway through Blackwood's video. I'm going to leave it here. The rest of the video is linked down below. Go and watch it all. We're going to hop into the next one and react to this. And we're only going to do a few minutes of this one. This one's by Luke Stevens. It's called The Assassin's Creed Shadows Situation is Crazy. Let's get into this just a little bit.
So the last week for Assassin's Creed has been among like the weirdest in the history of the franchise, and frankly, it's been fascinating to watch. I've been talking about this over on my second channel, Luke Stevens Live, where I stream and do stream highlights, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all before. But nice. While we were trying to unravel what was going on, there were all sorts of reports coming out that just further confused the issue. In case you missed it, there were initial reports from Tom Henderson that Ubisoft was canceling press previews of Assassin's Creed Shadows at the very last minute, which is pretty bizarre. That doesn't really happen. As you can see, he says that according to various sources, the AC Shadows press previews were scheduled to take place next week, and the embargo date for those previews would be announced then, probably relatively soon after that. And so to cancel that at the very last minute, when people are probably packing their bags to go to this event, is pretty interesting. I can't think of a time that that's happened for other games, at least that we've heard about through leaks and stuff.
I haven't really thought of a time when the consumer went against a AAA company and brought them to their knees financially, either by just pointing out how incredibly terrible they are. Different times we live in.
So that's crazy. Then it was announced that they were canceling their appearance at Tokyo Game Show. And you could probably hand wave away one of these things. Like if they announced that they were just backing out of Tokyo Game Show, you could maybe say, the demo they had was having issues, or maybe they didn't think that the trailer they cut was that good, so they canceled it, or maybe there's some legal issue on the side that is just not worth delving into. You could maybe excuse it that way. But when there's two instances back to back like this, the smoke starts to fill the room. Yep. And often where there is smoke, there is fire. And that fire was confirmed this morning. Ubisoft Corporate posted this. It is a revision to financial targets. Basically, this is something that happens when a big corporation is changing the outlook for investors. So, for example, when Take-Two Interactive moved...
Changing the outlook for investors, as I see it, that's like, hey, we're moving this title back 5 weeks, or 5 months. So during this period, where normally we expected all this money to be coming in, and we lied to the investors about how much money was going to be coming in during this time, we're now having nothing coming in, at least from this game. So that's changed. So now we have to put out this statement to the investors telling them about that.
Moved the expected release window for GTA 6 out of this fiscal year into the next one. They had all sorts of last minute bookings, adjustments, and they tempered, quote unquote, expectations for revenue because they were relying on this game generating billions of dollars. And once they move it to a different fiscal year, now they have to tell investors that that's not going to happen. And that's basically what happened here with AC Shadows. They outline how they're moving things around and that they are expecting net bookings to be significantly lower than they previously stated. And they say the revised targets are mainly a reflection of decisions taken for Assassin's Creed Shadows and the softer than expected launch for Star Wars Outlaws. Listening to
softer than expected, aka, oh my god, nobody bought this fucking game. What happened?
to players' feedback and as an illustration of our player-centric approach, the following important decisions relative to AC Shadows have been taken.
Yeah, so they pushed back the release date, departing from the traditional season pass model for this game, at least for the first season, and going back to Steam. We knew all this. So I'm not going to get into this. Is a long-ass video by Luke Stevens. Luke is very, very good at breaking these things down. If you enjoy his style, if you want to know more about the nitty-gritty details, check out the link to his video below. We're moving on to the third video. This is by Asmongold Clips. It's a short clip. It's only 2 minutes long. It's called Ubisoft. It's over. I love how Asmongold just states things so bluntly and matter-of-factly. I'm a big fan of Asmongold and a lot of the stuff he does. I don't sit there and watch his live streams, but I love watching some of his little clips and his short takes on things. I think he's spot on the nose with a lot of stuff, and he's entertaining as fuck. Anyways, hey, I hope to be as entertaining as he is one day. It's not going to happen, but that's okay. I'd also like to be as rich as he is one day. That's also not going to happen, but hey, I've got you people, and I do thank you for your follows, your likes, your subscriptions, your kind words in the comments, all that stuff. Appreciate you all so much. Let's get into this because this is the last thing we're covering here. Let's go.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed to February 14th. Dear players, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us, finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour and the renewed stealth brought by new technology, all set in a beautiful, immersive world. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize we need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. Internal memo leak. Yves Guillemot's internal memo to staff amid company struggles. Star Wars Outlaws initial sale proved softer than expected.
Corporate speak.
Corporate euphemisms are so funny to me. As such, we've made the decision to postpone the release date to February 14th, 2025. This game will release on a broad scope of platforms, including Steam at launch. Wow. How does he keep getting away with it? They all keep crawling back. Do nothing and win. Yeah, so as such, we made the decision to postpone it. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free. We understand this decision will come as disappointing news, especially to those who have been patiently waiting for Assassin's Creed game inspired by feudal Japan, but we sincerely believe this to be the best interest of the game and ultimately your experience as a player. Rest assured, we are looking forward to the moment that you will embark on a memorable adventure with Naoe and Yasuke. Until then, we thank you for your ongoing support. Well, let's see how well that support's going. Ubisoft stock. Okay, here we go. Ooh.
For the last 6 months, down 42.67%. Wow. Over the last year, or this year to date. So, from January through May, I guess. Down 53.87%. Thank you.
Buy the dip. If you want to buy the dip, I'd keep waiting.
People, all of these videos will be linked down below, so you can check them out for yourself. I advise you to give these fine folks a follow and listen to what they're saying, because they're bringing you the actual news, at least most of the time. They're never going to be completely right 100% of the time, but they're going to give you a good idea of what's going on. Get yourself a broad spectra of people you're listening to. You're getting your gaming news from. Keep yourself well informed. Keep your pitchforks and torches ready. Don't let up. You're going to win this battle one way or another. We're going to bring them kicking and screaming back to where they should be. Not just Ubisoft, all these companies. And if they don't want to play the way we want to play it, well then, your pitchfork has those pointy ends for a reason. Bring them to their knees and beyond. Get them out of the gaming industry. I salute you all. From Misfell Entertainment News, my name is Dread. Good job, people. Good night.